This is the performing songwriter, and my name is Ray Naylor. My guest today is Terri Camilari. Terri not only writes her own songs, but co-writes with Gordon Glantz, and in that capacity they are known as Springhouse Revival. She's also a voice actor and has studied theater. Terri has 2 albums of Springhouse Revival songs and is currently working on a solo release. I'll be back to talk to Terri in a minute, but first, here she is along with Brian Huff, playing guitar and singing original songs here on The Performing Songwriter.
So this is a song I wrote called Old House. It's actually one of the first songs I wrote completely on my own. It was inspired by an old house, but there are other metaphors going on there that you'll realize once you start listening to the story of the song. Thanks. There's an old house down on Lovelace Lane. Once was beautiful, but now people see it as an eyesore shame. Roof is full of holes, weeds are climbing free. But in my mind I see it as it used to be. No one goes in or out, doors are locked down tight. Daylight reveals her flaws, but oh, what a grand silhouette in the moonlight. Can't quite call it a home, it's chilly inside and dark. Walk by with a tear of my own, emptiness in my heart. Old house, empty now. Old hurts are new somehow. Broken windows let the cold in. Broken hearts afraid of holding someone new. One chance too few. As we grow older, so much of beauty fades. Ghostly memories linger and comfort from passion evades. When is it too late to save the condemned from a loneliness fraught with a fear to begin again? Old house, empty now. Old hurts are new somehow. Broken windows let the cold in. Broken hearts afraid of holding someone new. Old house, empty now. Old hurts are new somehow. Broken windows let the cold in. Broken hearts afraid of holding someone new. Took one chance too few.
Terri.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having us.
What got you into music?
Being born into my family. My father's family was very musical. They all played instruments. We all learned an instrument as kids. And I was singing, actually, they tell me I was singing in the high chair when I was just a toddler. So I've been singing forever, yeah.
Now, I mentioned in the introduction that you co-write with Gordon Glantz, and the duo is called Springhouse Revival. How did you guys get together, and also what's the story behind the name?
Okay, so they're really good questions. So Gordon and I dated in college, and he was all about music. He would we went to two different schools. I went to what's now called DeSales. He went to Temple Journalism. I was in theater. And when he would come up to visit, always had his guitar in hand, listen to this new song I wrote. He has a really good voice for punk rock, but that's about it. He's and so we dated for about 2 years, always about the music. He had a little band going, and then when we parted ways, we just met up again, basically on social media. And I asked him, what are you doing with your music? Because it was so much a part of him. And he said nothing. And I said, in my way, I said, well, that's just unacceptable. Let's get you together with somebody. He does write music, but he's much more in tune with the writing of lyrics. So he was really looking for someone to do the music. I fished around for him a little bit. And then finally he said, I could send one to you. I said, yeah, I've written some music for church and whatnot, some settings. And he sent me a song called Chameleon, and I sent it back. And this was all, we hadn't seen each other again. This was all through emails. And after he listened to it, he sent it back and said, oh, it's actually good. That's kind of our relationship. So then we just started, he just kept on sending me lyrics. I just kept on sending back songs. I would record them at home. And we have probably close to 100 songs that we've written together.
Wow. And
we've recorded probably a little over half of them. 2 CDs are already out, and one more that has more of a country flavor. I'm hoping will be out in 2018 as well. But we're both working on independent projects at the same time. You had also asked about the name.
About the name.
So when we started recording at Morning Star Studios, they were located in Springhouse. So a working title for our writing partnership was Springhouse. But there are several bands already out there that have the name Springhouse. So we actually went on to Facebook and asked our friends to send us a second word to go with Springhouse. And another journalist named Katie Kohler, she wrote for the Times Herald, she came up with the Revival. And we kind of liked it because we were sort of folk rock and we're reviving some of our, influences from the 70s and the 80s. So it just seemed to fit.
Now, in terms of the co-writing process, how does Gordon and yourself, what's your process for that?
We have never written in the same room. He likes to write on his own and send me lyrics. Sometimes he'll send me 10 sets of lyrics at once. Sometimes it's just one song. And then he usually gives me an idea of what the flavor of the song. And I'm free to either run with that or look at the words and then see what organically comes out myself. Then I'll put it together with the progression, the melody line, some notes about percussion. If there's a solo line that I would like the solo instruments to play, I'll just vocalize that for them to follow. And then we go in the studio. We have great studio musicians who flesh it all out for us, and I do all the vocals. I usually do the backup vocals as well. For this upcoming album, a lot of songs are sung with Tom Hampton, who you probably are familiar with. He's a great instrumentalist, and he has a kickin' voice. So you'll be, able to hear him on this upcoming CD as well.
Now, in terms of your melody writing, how do you do that? And if you are able to describe that, and how do you work on making all your melodies not sounding the same over time? You know what I mean?
No, that can be difficult, especially with Gordon. We were so prolific. He was constantly sending me material to write. Some of it comes from choosing the key that you think will tell the story the best. So, if it's a moodier song, trying to go into a minor, trying to pick a minor that's not not E minor, but maybe go to D minor or G minor or something along those lines. And the melodies always pretty much came easily to me. I think because I've just been inundated with music. My family, I'm the youngest of 7, and so I had the advantage of hearing all of my older brothers and sisters' music growing up. And my father loved all kinds of music, classical, opera, folk, pop, everything was just running through our house all the time. So I have a lot to reference. So sometimes my melodies might be a little more dramatic, and that's kind of my musical theater background comes in there. And other times they're just really, cowboy chords and you don't want to, I'll go up here where before I might have gone down, and that's how I work it. Sometimes a melody just comes. As I'm reading the words will just form into a melody in my head, and I'll know where the rhythm is going to be, and that's just the way my brain works.
Now, I mentioned in the introduction that you have been a voice, what I call a voice actor, and also you studied, well, you mentioned the musical theater. How has that experience transferred into your performing style when you sing?
Well, with the voice acting, I learned a lot about, manipulating your voice a little bit to fit a different character. The producer at Morning Star Studio, one day we were having a conversation. He said I have what he thought was a malleable voice. They could put a different, genre in front of me and I can adapt to it. And I think that comes from the theater background as well as the voiceover background. But definitely, when you're in studio, how to form your mouth. If you're doing something that's more folky, you kind of have a rounder sound. If it's more rock, you kind of make a squarer formation with your mouth. Not necessarily, you don't want to do that too much when you're in front of people, because it could be like a little like, why is she making that dinosaur face at me? But definitely in the studio, it really helped. It really helped. And I do love voice acting, and I haven't had a chance to do it very much, but I did do some campaigns for down in Philly and things like that. But music is really what I'm doing right now.
Okay. We're going to hear some more songs from you and Brian, but while we're getting ready for that, we're going to watch part of a video for the next guest, which will be here in another week or so.
And who's that?
Her name is Loretta Hagen, and I met her and learned about her through a guy named Larry Ahern.
Oh, sure,
who's been a guest on the show. Now, Larry is involved with Trespass Music, which is a management organization, and they also help people do other related things. So this particular song is called Now That You're Home. And again, this is Loretta Hagen, and Loretta will be here in a week or so, and so we'll listen to that now. 1, 2, 3.
Days I've been filling up lonely hours while waiting on your return. In my bed alone, I lie awake till the moon is gone. It's all aglow now that you're home. It's not your fault, your occupation keeps you gone. But in these times you take what comes. You know that I will wait, oh, but the bill collectors came. They'll get what they're owed now that you're home. Now that you're home, I sleep
Okay, so this is a song I wrote called Same Game, Same Old Rules. And the process for this song was that the first couple lines of the chorus just popped into my head, hung out there for a couple of weeks. And then when I was on vacation, I sat down and structured it into a song that's really about what life hands us back when we hand life big dreams. I come home and you're gone again, packing up the promises we made back then. We were young, we believed, all it took was faith in simple dreams. Times got tough, we hit a dead end. I come home and you're gone again. It's the same game played by fools, different names, same old rules. So many questions told just because. Tell me true, is this how love will be? With a perfect house and perfect family. Looking back at love, she knows she's lost. That little girl with a house of dolls. It's the same game played by fools, different names, same old rules. In a wider frame, the truth is cruel. Same game, same old rules. Year after year and day after day, make ends meet, make your own way. We all dreamed how our life would be, exceptions to the rules, a way of living free. Life gives and takes. Year after year and day after day, it's the same game played by old rules. Same game, same old rules.
So this is a song based on the fleeting nature of reality, and also how the best songs seem to come up out of dreams that we have.
Nothing's what it seems. Life is just a dream. Ignore the cover on the book. The writer sets the scene. And everything you've ever known is what you want to see. And everything that's meaningful is just beyond your reach. People say the strangest things, it's never what they mean. They cry when they are happy and they laugh when they get mean. And everything they've ever owned can't quell their desire. And everything they really need can't be found for hire. Nothing's what it seems. Life is just a dream. All roads lead to Avalon, and the world is make-believe. I got a good old lady. She thinks that I got money. When she learns how broke I am, she might start acting funny. And everything you've ever owned just becomes a burden. And everything you've ever seen will just go back to carbon. Nothing's what it seems. Life is just a dream. All roads lead to Avalon, and the world is make-believe. Nothing's what it seems. Life is just a dream. Ignore the cover on the book. The writer sets the scene. And everything you've ever known is what you want to see. And everything that's meaningful is just beyond your reach. Nothing's what it seems. Life is just a dream. All roads lead to Avalon, and the world is make-believe. Nothing's what it seems. Life is just a dream. All roads lead to Avalon, and the world is make-believe.
So this is a song that was inspired by something that used to happen every day when I was a little girl. And that was I would hear my father turning into the driveway, and wherever I was in the house, I would run, usually upstairs in the family room, I would run down the steps, take a flying leap, and he would just grab me in his arms and give me a big hug and twirl around. So that's the beginning of the song. And then I just built the song about the relationship between a daddy and a daughter. Sound of the car in the driveway, heart skips inside. She runs from her chair down the stairway and leaps into his arms. He laughs and twirls her in circles. She knows everything's alright. Daddy's come home. Daddy's come home. Daddy's come home. Daddy's come home. After years of fatherly advice, times he didn't listen. Long distance calls and airplane flights and a long walk down the aisle. She places her baby in his arms, knowing love's the legacy. Daddy's come home. Daddy's come home. Daddy's come home. Daddy's come home. Lilies fill the air. She combs his silver hair. Sunlight through the window she hears takes her back through all the years. There's a line of cars on the highway. She brushes a tear from her face, longing to have just one more day reflected in his eyes. They stand in a sunlit circle. It's carved in stone. Daddy's come home. 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 Daddy's come home.
Those are some of the shows that we'll be having next couple months. So hopefully you'll be joining us for them. You're also involved in an organization called Musicians on Call.
Yes, I am.
So I wanted to ask you to talk a little bit about the organization, but also how you fit into that.
Okay. So I'm really glad that you're giving me a chance to talk about that. I'm new to the organization. And I would encourage people who would like to do it, if you get put on the waiting list, don't think they forget you, because I was on the waiting list for at least 18 months. And then got an email, and I've been down to HUP. I started in August, and I've been down to HUP 3 times. Soon, I hope to be over at Bryn Mawr Hospital. And the organization goes into hospital rooms. You're you travel through the hospital, usually on one floor at a time, a night, and you're with a guide who's a volunteer, either with Musicians on Call or with the hospital. And they go in and they ask the patients if they would like to hear a song. And I usually go with about 4 or 5 songs that I know by heart, that have different tempos, different flavors. And then if they say yes, you go in and you ask them if they would like an up-tempo song, or you just tell them, like I'll say, I have an Eagles, I have a Buddy Holly, and I have an Elvis, or I have whatever the case may be. And they'll pick, and then you sing the song, and I'll tell you, I get more out of it, I think, than the patients do. It's really a beautiful experience. If I can just share one story with you about it. It was, I think, my second or third time at HUP, and we went into the room of a gentleman who was pretty much immobile and really not responding. He could respond, and he was conscious. And he asked for the Elvis song, which that night was Love Me Tender. And by the end of the song, he was singing along with us. And he had this beautiful, rich voice. And the guide and I were like in tears when we left, because it was so moving that the music just like entered him and brought, and it had to come out of him. And it was really beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Now with Springhouse Revival, you have 2 records that are out. And one of them is called the first one, Return to Nothing, and the second Chance. Now you mentioned that. You talked to where you recorded them at Morningstar Studios.
I did. Yeah, we do all of our recording there.
Which is a great studio.
It is a great studio. Glenn Barrett and Liz Ann Knott, who's another wonderful songwriter. I know that she's been on your show. Yep.
We did it at the studio.
I did. Oh, that's right. I remember we saw it, and I was thinking, oh, wow, that's so great. Liz Ann actually was the reason that I stuck with Morningstar, because I had to do a voiceover audition, and the person that I was working with had to get a tooth extracted, and I needed to find another studio. She had a session for herself, and she gave it to me. And she's like, oh, come on in, hon. And so, we record there, and we use, like I said, I do the vocals, but we have players like Tom Hampton, John Conahan on anything with keyboard. We have Chico Huff, Brian, who was playing with me earlier. He did some bass work on my solo CD. And Grant McAvoy on drums. And did I leave anybody out? I don't think so. I got Kevin, Tom. Yep, I think I got them all. And they're like, I don't know, I'm sure you're familiar with the Wrecking Crew out on the West Coast in the 60s and 70s. And Gordon and I call them the Wrecking Crew East, because we can put anything in front of them and they make it even better. The first time we heard them play, I actually got filled up, because it was like, this is our song, and it sounds so good. So, yeah.
And you're working on a solo album.
I am, and Old House is the title track of that. And I have so far 11 songs recorded, and there'll be 10 on the final CD. So one will be cut. Most of it is tracked. I forgot to mention that Michael Ronstadt played on all strings, pretty much on the Springhouse Revival, and he's also going to be playing on my CD. And
he was a guest on here too.
Oh, isn't he great? He's just so natural and wonderful. He's a really good guy.
Now, if people want to learn about your music and see where you might be playing, what's the best way to do that?
They can. There's a Springhouse Revival page on Facebook, which they can like. There is a springhouserevival.com, which they can listen to all of our music. And every once in a while, we'll throw a free download on there, so they can check that out. I'm actually right now on that website with my solo stuff. I'm the last tab on the right. And the songs that are mixed and mastered are posted there already. And so that would be where they would go, springhouserevival.com. And they may see they might have a better chance of seeing where I'm playing if they use the Facebook, because
Okay.
I post events there.
Okay.
I don't always update that on the website, but if they're interested in booking us, they can find the contact either through Facebook or on springhouserevival.com.
Well, Terri, I want to thank you and also Brian for coming in today.
Thank you. I had a wonderful time.
Okay. And we'll be back in a week or so with Loretta Hagen. See you then.